Good evening, everyone. My name is Satyanarayan, IQ Ideas. For the past few weeks, I've been doing these Saturday evening live sessions where I've solved past year papers, questions from the IPMAT of IIM Indore, questions from the NPAT, Narsimonji, questions from JIPMAT conducted by the NTA for IIMs Jammu and Bodh Gaya, and also a couple of past year papers from the School of Liberal Studies at PDEU. Today's session again is one of the past year papers from SLS PDEU. This is the 2018 paper. Before I start, a quick word on the paper pattern and other things. Students who are applying for admissions to the School of Liberal Studies at Pandit Deendayal Energy University at Gandhinagar in Ahmedabad would very well know that this entrance examination is the first portion is the MCQs part of the test, which contains 40 questions on general knowledge, 20 questions on English, 20 questions of maths and 20 questions of reasoning, a total of 100 questions with 0.5 for a correct answer and no negative marking. So even if you get a question wrong, you're not going to be penalized for that. This is also followed by an essay. Usually a creative type kind of topic is given where you are expected to write something creatively. It could be prose, it could be poetry, and you are evaluated on your creative writing abilities, which is followed by an interview for all the students. And based on the consolidated scores that you have got in all three parts of the evaluation process, you are granted admissions to the 4-year Liberal Studies program at PDEU Gandhinagar. So without further ado, I'm going to start solving the questions from the 2018 paper of SLS PDEU. First 20 questions of mathematics, followed by 20 questions of reasoning. And you will quickly realize that this is an extremely easy paper, right? The GK portion probably is the only portion which gives a little bit of trouble to most students. The English usually comprises of 2 reading comprehension passages, 10 questions each, but which also includes questions based on vocabulary from the same passage, followed by, of course, 20 questions of mathematics, 20 questions of reasoning. So let's start taking a look at the questions for today. The very first question, you have to find out the wrong number in the series, and you are given a series of numbers 7, 8, 18, 57, 228, 1165 and 6996. So whenever I look at a question of series, I first try to identify whether addition or multiplication is a factor in it. And the way these numbers are increasing in size rapidly, multiplication seems definitely to be a factor which is involved. So the first two numbers 7 and 8, I can put it as 7 multiplied by 1 is 7 plus 1 gives me 8. The next number 8, if I multiply by 2, I get 16. I add 2, I get 18. I take the product 18, I multiply it by 3. So 18 threes are 54 plus 3 gives me 57. So far so good. 57 multiplied by 4 gives me 228. Plus 4 should give me 232. But 228 is in that position. 228 could be the wrong answer. But let's just confirm whether the other numbers are proper. So if 232 were to be the fourth number, then 232 multiplied by 5 is 1160 plus 5 definitely gives me 1165, and 1165 multiplied by 6 plus 6 will give me the final number 6996. So multiplied by 1 plus 1, multiplied by 2 plus 2, multiplied by 3 plus 3, multiplied by 4 plus 4 and so on is the logic which has been used for this particular question. And once you identify that, an easy question to crack. So one question down, definitely solvable in the examination. Let's move ahead to the second one, yet another question, and without the instructions, it just seems I need to identify the wrong number, the instruction of the previous question. So then the numbers are 1, 1, 2, 6, 24, 96 and 720. Again, like I mentioned in the previous question, multiplication seems to be a factor. So let's see, 1 multiplied by 1 gives me 1. I take the number 1 multiplied by 2, I get the next number 2. 2 multiplied by 3 gives me the next number 6. 6 multiplied by 4 gives me the next number 24. 24 multiplied by 5 should give me 120. But the number here is 96. So 96 could be the wrong number. Let's just check. 120 multiplied by 6 is 720. So definitely 96 is the wrong number in this series. It should have been 120. Excellent. Easy. Now a word problem which says Aisha's father was 38 years of age when she was born, while her mother was 36 years old when her brother, 4 years younger to her, was born. What is the difference between the ages of her parents? Looks a little bit complicated, but believe me, it's not. In fact, let me try to solve this even without forming a linear equation, if that's what comes to your mind, right? So there are 4 people. We have Aisha, we have her father, we have her mother, and we have the brother. Now it says Aisha's father was 38 when she was born. So at birth, if Aisha's age was 0, the father's age was 38. Her mother was 36 when the brother 4 years younger to her was born. So when the brother was born, he was 0 and Aisha was 4 years elder. So plus 4. And at that time, the mother's age was 36. Now, if Aisha aged by 4 years, the father also aged by 4 years. So for this timeline, 38 plus 4, the father's age was 42. So at the same point of time, Aisha was 4, the father was 42, the mother was 36 and the brother was 0, just born. The question is the difference between the age of the parents. So at the same point of time, the father and the mother were 42 and 36, difference between that is 6 years. So option C, the difference between the age of the father and mother at any point of time is 6 years. The difference between 2 people at the same point of time remains constant, right? It's not a great mathematical problem. You could logically crack the answer to this question. Fantastic. Let's move on to the next one. Now, this one says Q is as much younger than R as he is older than T. If the sum of the ages of R and T is 50, what is definitely the difference between R and Q's age? Interesting. So, Q is as much younger than R as he is older than T. So, if I assume Q's age to be X, he is as much younger than R. So, R is older. Let's assume he is X plus A years old. So, as much younger than R as he is older than T. So, T is younger than Q. And the difference is the same, A years. So, T is X minus A. Now, it says the sum of R and T is 50 years. So, X plus A plus X minus A is equal to 50 years. So, the A's get cancelled to X is equal to 50, X is equal to 25. Fantastic. I need to find out the difference between R and Q's age. Now, although I have the value of X as 25, the difference between R and Q's age needs the value of A. And it is not possible to find out the value of A in this particular question. Thankfully, we have data inadequate as one of the options. So definitely, you cannot get the answer to this question because you do not have sufficient data to answer it. Mark D, data inadequate as the answer. Move ahead. That's it. So remember, sometimes it's not about solving the equations. It's not about solving the question. It's simply about identifying whether the data given to you is even enough for you to be able to reach the solution. And as clearly pointed out in this question, we do not have enough information to find out what is asked. So data inadequate, definitely the answer for this particular case. Okay. Very interesting problem. It says the greatest number which on dividing 1657 and 2037 leaves the remainders 6 and 5 respectively. Okay, now let's think for a moment about this question. It says there is a number which divides both these. So that means I'm looking for a factor which is common to both of these numbers, and it is the greatest. So I'm looking for the greatest common factor or the highest common factor. So HCF or GCD, any one of these two terms which you use is what I'm identifying. It also says that the HCF actually leaves these remainder. So when 1657 is divided by the number, it leaves a remainder of 6, which means 1651 is the number which is perfectly divisible. Similarly, 2037 on being divided leaves 5 as a remainder, which means 2032 is perfectly divisible. So I need to find out the highest common factor for 1651 and 2032. Now 1651 looks a bit complicated, but 2032 even number divisible by 2. So let's start by identifying the factors, the prime factors for 2032. Let's start with 2. So 2 1s are, 0s are, 1s are and 6s are. 2 5s are, 0s are and 8s are. 2 2s are 4, 2 5s are and 2 4s are. 2 1s are, 2 2s are and 7s are. And 127 does not seem to be divisible by anything. Let's leave it at that. So 127 being a prime number, if is not further factorizable, then let's check whether 1651 can be divided by 127. So 127 ones are 127. So if I subtract 127 from this, then this is 8, this is 3, and this is 0. Pull back the 1. Can 127 divide 381? Well, last digits, 7 3s are 21. So let's check what 127 3s are is. 3 7s are 21, 3 2s are 6, 8, 3 1s are 3. Did I get my numbers right? 5 minus 2, 3. Okay. 3 7s are 21, 3 2s are 6, 8, 3 1s are 3. No carry forward here. So 381, yes. So 13 and 27 are the factors for 381, and the entire list of 2s and 127 is the factor for 2032. So the highest common factor for both, which perfectly divides the numbers, is 127. Yes, option B, 127 definitely gives me the answer there. So the answer to this question, easy, 127. Now, which of the following has the most number of divisors? Divisors or factors. So, two consecutive questions based on the concept of factors or divisors. Now, for this question, you need to understand, how do I estimate how many factors are there for a particular given composite number? Well, here it is. If it is possible to represent a composite number as, let us say, a raised to p multiplied by b raised to q multiplied by c raised to r and so on, where a, b, c, they are all prime numbers, then the number of factors for the composite number is given by p plus 1 into q plus 1 into r plus 1 and so on. So we find out the entire composite number as the product of the powers of the primes. We take all the powers, add 1 to each, multiply them, and the product of these numbers is the number of factors. For example, I know 10 has factors 1, 2, 5 and 10. That means 4 factors. 10 can also be prime factorized as 2 raised to 1 into 5 raised to 1. So the powers 1 and 1. So the first power 1, I add 1. The second power 1, I add 1. 2 into 2, 4. I get the exact number. Right? You can try this out and you will always find out that the total number of factors for any composite number is take all the powers of the prime factors, add 1 to each, take the product, and that's your final answer. So using this funda, how do I solve this question? Well, my first number is 99, which is 3 square multiplied by 11 raised to 1. So 2 plus 1, 3, 1 plus 1, 2. This will have a total of 6 factors. 101 is actually a prime number. It has only 1 as the factor. I mean, there's only one factor. 176, if I prime factorize it, 2 8s are 16, 2 8s are 2 44s are, 2 22s are, 2 11s are, and 11 1s are. So 176 is 2 to the power 4 into 11 to the power 1. So 5 into 2. This will have a total of 10 factors. And 182, if I factorize it, 2 9s are, 1s are, 7 1s are, 7 3s are, and 13 1s are. So 2 to the power 1 into 7 to the power 1 into 13 to the power 1. So 1 plus 1, 2, 1 plus 1, 2, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 2s are 4, 2s are 8. Obviously, the maximum number of factors is 176 with 10 factors. So I mark option C, 176 as the answer and move ahead. That's it. So the only funda that you needed to understand to solve this particular question is how do I find out the total number of factors for any given composite number. And once you get that, absolutely easy question to solve. Great. Now, trigonometry. Some of us have a slight trouble with trigonometry, but believe me, the basic trigonometry that you learnt the very first time you came across this chapter is all you need to solve it. What does this question say? Well, the angle of elevation of the sun when the length of the shadow of a tree root 3 times the height of the tree. Let's simply draw it, right? So let us say that this is my tree. Standing at this point, the line connecting the point of observation to the top of the object, the angle is my angle of elevation. So this is my tree and this would be the shadow of the tree. Now, the shadow is root 3 times the height of the tree. So if I assume the height of the tree to be 1, then the length of the shadow is root 3 into 1, which is root 3. And opposite and adjacent, the trigonometric ratio is tan. So tan of theta is 1 upon root 3. And if you remember your trigonometric ratios, then 1 upon root 3 is the value for tan of 30 degrees. That's it. That's it. So if tan 30 is tan 30 degrees, tan theta is tan 30 degrees, the value of theta absolutely must be 30 degrees. So mark option A as the right answer and move ahead. That's it. We are done with this question. In fact, we are 7 minutes into this video in which I spent the first couple of minutes just blabbing around and still we are 7 questions down. So as you can see, less than a minute per question. Absolutely possible. Okay, let's move ahead. Now this says a bag contains 4 white, 5 red, 6 blue balls. 3 balls are drawn at random from the bag. The probability that all of them are red. Okay, question on probability, a favorite of PDEU, but they generally do not ask any difficult sort of question. They go with the easiest ones. So in this case, I have got white, a total of 4 balls, red, a total of 5, blue, a total of 6, which means the total number of balls is 4 plus 5, 9 plus 6, which is 15. Now, 3 balls are drawn at random and all of them have to be red. So, probability of the first one being red into the probability of the second being red and the probability of the third also being red, we just have to multiply. So, first I have a total of 5 red balls, favorable outcomes, and 15 total balls. So, number of favorable outcomes upon total possible outcomes is the first one. Assuming we do not replace it. For the second one to be red, out of 5, 1 is selected, 4 remaining. Out of 15, 1 selected, 14 remaining. And for the third also to be red, already 2 red balls out, so 3 remaining, and 2 overall balls removed, 13 remaining. If I simplify this, 5 3s are 15, 2, 4 and 7. So this is 2 multiplied by 13 7s are 91. and 2 by 91 is option C. So the probability that when you pick 3 balls, and I'm assuming without replacement, the probability that all the balls will be 3 is simply 2 by 91. So the only fundamental you have to remember is probability of an outcome is the number of favorable outcomes divided by the total number of possible outcomes of that event. Absolutely easy question. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Now, this is a question of variation or ratio, and I'm going to use something called the unitary method. Absolute favorite of mine for solving such questions. Logic matters, calculation, absolutely nothing. Now, what does it say? It says, running at the same constant rate, 6 identical machines can produce a total of 270 bottles per minute. So at this rate, how many bottles could 10 such machines produce in 4 minutes? So I have got 3 variables here, right? I have got machines. Second, I have got the number of bottles being produced. And third, I have the time, which is in minutes. So first it says 6 identical machines can produce a total of 270 bottles at per minute, 1 minute. So if 6 bottles can produce, 6 machines can produce 270 bottles every minute, let's keep the time constant, 1 minute, right? Now, more machines, more bottles, less machines, time remaining constant, less number of bottles, direct proportion. So, how much can one machine produce? Simple, 270 divided by 6. So, 270 divided by 6, 6 4s are 24, 6 5s are 30. So, one machine can produce 45 bottles per minute. Great. Now, I have 10 such machines. Again, more machines, more bottles, time remaining constant. So per minute, if one machine can produce 45, 10 can produce 450 bottles. And now all the machines are working for 4 minutes. So more the amount of time with number of machines remaining constant, more the number of bottles, direct variation. So 450 per minute. So 4 times 450 into 4. So double, 450 double, 900 double, 1800 bottles will be produced by this machine working for 4 minutes if there are 10 such machines. 1800, option B is definitely given to me as one of the answers. And that's it. If you understand the basic funda of variation, then this question is very, very easily solved. Right? Absolutely easy. Now, let's move ahead. And this was a repeat question. So whenever you see this particular image coming up the screen, it means this question has actually been asked in at least one, if not more, of the past year papers of SLS PDEU. And what I have observed is that many questions are repeated multiple times year on year, which gives us the confidence that if we solve all the past year papers, or at least as much of them as are available on the official website, we should be in a great position to crack the current year paper. Ceteris paribus, all other things being equal, right? If they don't suddenly decide to go off tangent, then you will see that solving past year papers will give you a fair idea of the kind of topics which you need to be comfortable with, and you will definitely be able to crack this exam. Great. Let's move ahead. Clocks. How many times do the hands of a clock coincide in a day? Well, I know the answer off the back of my hand. I know it just from memory. But I'm not just going to give you the answer. Let me show you what it means. The question says that the hands of the clock must coincide. What do I mean by that? Now, we have two hands, the hour and the minute hand. We don't count the second hand. So, at exactly 12, the minute hand will also point at 12 and the hour hand will also point at 12. So, when both the hands are exactly on top of each other, that's the two hands coinciding. Now, at 12 o'clock, both the hands start moving in the clockwise direction. What is the next when they will coincide? Well, at 1 o'clock, the minute hand is going to be at 12, but the hour hand will be slightly ahead at 1, right? And the hour hand moves a bit slowly. So sometime after exactly 1, so sometime between 1 and 2, it is going to coincide. Actually, it's going to be 5.5 minutes past, but let's not worry about that number. So it's going to coincide the second time sometime after 1. Similarly, 11 minutes after 2, they will coincide. 16.5 minutes after 3, they will coincide. It takes 5.5 minutes for the minute hand to catch up, right? So when you look at the entire clock, in an hour, it actually moves ahead a little bit. So it is not going to coincide 12 times, right? It doesn't coincide at 12, 1, 2. It coincides at 12, 0, 1, 5 point, 2, 11, a little bit ahead. So it just has coincided 11 times, and the next time it is already at 12. It has completed one circle. So in one complete rotation, it has actually coincided only 11 times. Now the question is, how many times will it coincide in a day? 24 hours in a day. So if it coincides 11 times in a single rotation for 12 hours, then for 24 hours, simple, it has to coincide a total of 22 times. So even if you don't know the calculation, you can simply remember this funda. 11 times in 12 hours, they coincide. Same funda, 11 times in 12 hours, they are exactly opposite to each other. 22 times in 12 hours, they will be at 90 degrees, because I can have a 90 degree like this. I can also have a 90 degree like this at 15 and 45 in every hour. So 22 times in 12 hours, they will be at 90 degrees. Once you remember the magical number of 11 per 12, you will realize that the answer for this question has to be 22. That's it. Extremely easy. You don't even need to remember the calculations. If you do want to understand the exact calculations, because there are some problems where it comes in handy, and I believe there's a question in this set as well, then 5.5 is the magical number. When we come to the clocks question, I'm going to show you that. But remember, for now, the answer is based on that magical thing, 11 times in 12 hours. Great. Oh, there it is. Here's where I'm going to use the funda of 5.5. Let's see what it is. The angle between the minute hand and the hour hand of a clock when the time is 4:20. So whenever it comes to questions of angles between the hands of a clock, we will always start with the time when the minute hand should be at 12. So 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, things like that. So for 4:20, we start with what is the angle at exactly 4 o'clock, right? So at exactly 4 o'clock, the minute hand is going to be at 12. The hour hand is exactly going to be at 4. Now, 360 degrees complete circle, 12 divisions. So every hour division is 360 by 12, 30 degrees. So what is the angle between these two hands at exactly 4 o'clock? Well, 4 divisions of 30 degrees, it is 120 degrees. Now, the minute hand travels and completes 360 degrees in 60 minutes, that is 6 degrees per minute. So let's put it down. The minute hand is 6 degrees per minute. The hour hand takes 12 hours to complete 360 degrees. So 1 hour to complete 30 degrees. So half a minute to complete a degree. So the speed of the hour hand is half a degree per minute, which means that if the hour hand covers half degree, in the same time the minute hand covers 6 degree. So if the hour hand is stationary, 0 degrees per minute, then equivalently the minute hand is 5.5 degrees per minute, and that's where the magic number 5.5 comes. So if I assume the hour hand to be stationary, the minute hand will be able to cross 5.5 degrees. Now, how is this fact going to come in handy? Well, at 4:20, how much have both the hands traveled? Well, assuming the hour hand is stationary, the minute hand has traveled 20 degrees. So, 20 minutes and 5.5 degrees per minute is actually 5.5 is 11 by 2. So if I simplify this, I get 110 degrees. Initially, the distance between them was 120 degrees. Now, the minute hand in 20 minutes will be able to cover up 110 degrees. It comes 110 degrees closer to the hour hand. So now the difference of 120 and 110, 10 degrees will be the distance which is left between the two hands. And that's your answer, right? I hope it's easy to understand. The minute hand moves on its own 6 degrees per minute. The hour hand, half a degree per minute. So, for the minute to overtake the hour hand, if I assume the hour hand to be stationary, the minute hand will cover 5.5 degrees per minute and come closer. So, I need in 20 minutes 110 degrees traveled. So out of 120, it can cover up 110 degrees. So what is left? 10 degrees. That's it. Understand this funda, and questions of angles between the hands of the clock are extremely easy to solve. Okay, I hope that made sense. Let's move on. Now this says a certain amount earns simple interest of rupees 1750 after 7 years. Okay, let's note down the variables that we have. So I do not know what the principal is. The simple interest earned was rupees 1750. The number of years is 7 years. Now remember, in simple interest, compound interest problems, we have the variables amount, principal, simple interest, rate of interest, number of years. So what am I missing? The rate of interest. Okay. Now, had the interest been 2% more, I don't know what the rate of interest is. Let's assume it to be y%. So if it were y plus 2%, how much more interest would it have earned? Now, I have two variables, but I do not have enough equations. I need at least two distinct equations to get the values. And all I can form is simple interest is PNR upon 100. So simple interest 1750 is x into 7 into y upon 100. Now, even if I use another equation using y plus 2, I don't have enough variables to solve and get the distinct values of x and y. So then it is not possible to solve this question. So our second question from the entire set, where data inadequate or cannot be determined, is the answer. I hope you understood why it is cannot be determined. I do not have enough information to solve this particular question. Okay, I'm going to take a minute to read comments, if any. Brilliant. Okay, so please do post your comments during the session so that if there are any doubts, I can solve them. Even if you are not watching this live, if you are watching the record of this session, please do post your comments and queries so that I keep regularly checking them. I'll try my best to solve the questions. Okay, so great, no calculation for this particular thing. Yet another question of interest. So let's follow the same principles. It says a sum of rupees 12,500. So my principal is rupees 12,500 amounts to rupees 15,500. So amount is rupees 15,500. So I can easily say my simple interest is amount minus principal, which in this case is rupees 3,000. 15 minus 5, 3,000. Yes. In 4 years. So my number of years is 4. At the rate of simple interest, what is the rate of interest? Okay. Simple interest is given by the formula PNR upon 100. So simple interest of 3000 is equal to principal of 12,500 into number of years, which is 4, into rate of interest R divided by 100. One variable, I can definitely solve this. So the zeros and zeros get eliminated. 25 5s are 125, 25 1s are 25, 2s are, zeros are 4, 30s are 5, 6 are. So I get the value of R as 6%, and that is option D. So direct application of the formula, simple interest is PNR upon 100, and we get the answer to this particular question. Easy question to solve, definitely not difficult at all. I hope you got this one, right? So far so good, and we are already 13 questions down. Excellent. Okay. Now, one of the first nice questions, nice in the sense it makes you think a little bit, right? So most of the questions from SLS PDEU paper are extremely simple sitters. You just mechanically solve them by plugging in the formula and the values. Sometimes nice. So let's take a look at this nice question. By nice, I mean just interesting. Okay. In a regular week, there are 5 working days, and for each day, the working hours are 8. A man gets 2.4 rupees per hour for regular work, 3.2 rupees per hour for overtime, and he earns 432 in 4 weeks. How much hours does he work for? Great. So let's just calculate what his regular income should be. So he's working for 4 weeks. Great. In each week, there are 5 days. Excellent. In each working day, there are 8 hours. And per regular working hour, he gets 2.4 rupees. So his regular income is 4 into 5, 20 into 8, 160 multiplied by 2.4. And I'm not going to waste too much time. I shift the zeros and the points. I can write it as 16 into 24, which is nothing but 20 minus 4 into 20 plus 4. A minus B, A plus B is A square minus B square. So 384 is what he has earned as regular income. But he earned a total of 432. So the difference between the numbers was his overtime. So 432 minus 384. So I get 48 rupees was what he earned as overtime. Now my question is, how many hours did he work? Okay. So if 48 rupees was his overtime income and he earned 3.2 per hour, so 48 divided by 3.2, so 32 and 0. So I can write 8 4s are 32, 8 6 are 48, 60 by 4. So 15 hours is what he spent as overtime. But I also need to include the regular time. So regular time was 4 into 5, 20 into 8, 160 hours. So 160 hours of regular time plus 15 hours of overtime. He should have worked for a total of 175 hours to be earning rupees 432 in 4 weeks at that cost. Easy question. You just need to break down the problem into simpler portions, and step by step, if you don't make any mistakes in calculation, you will absolutely get the answer to each of the questions asked in this exam. Great. Now let's go further. Let's take a look at the next one. Okay. 40% of a number is 2/3 of another number. Okay. Word problem. Let's start writing it. So 40% of a number is 2/3 of another number. What is the ratio of the first to second? Great. Let's simplify this. 2 2s are 4, 2 5s are 10. So x upon y is 2 upon 3 into 5 upon 2, which is 5 upon 3. Option C. Mark and move ahead. Such a simple question to solve. Fundamentals of ratio. Sure. Let's move ahead to the next one. And now we are on the 76th, the fourth proportional. Question is very easy, but you must understand what is meant by a fourth proportional. So, if I'm given numbers A, B and C, then D, the fourth proportional, is nothing but A upon B is equal to C upon D, or D is equal to B into C upon A. That's it. So, if X is my fourth proportional, 5 upon 8 is equal to 15 upon X. So, X is equal to 15 into 8 upon 5. 3 8s are 24. My fourth proportional, option B, 24. Mark and move ahead. Simple, easy, and definitely going to earn you marks. And remember, the fourth proportional or third proportional type of questions are very common in PDPU. So what is a third proportion? Well, if you are given the numbers P and Q and R is the third proportional, it means P upon Q is equal to Q upon R. That's the funda of the third proportional. So you just remember what is meant by a third proportional, what is meant by a fourth proportional, and these questions absolutely settle to solve. Now, let's take a look at the next one. One of my favorite topics. Now this says, in a mixture of 60 liters, the ratio of milk and water is 2:1. So milk and water gives you the total, and the ratio is 2:1, which means my total should be 3. But the mixture is 60 liters. So 3 multiplied by 20 is 60. So 2 multiplied by 20, 40 plus 1 multiplied by 20. So the actual quantities are 40 liters and 20 liters. Now if the ratio is to be 1:2, the quantity of water to be added. So water is added, which means milk remains the same. So if milk remains the same and it is 1, then the value of 2 is 80. So from 20 to reach 80, I need to add 60 liters. That's it. If I add 60 liters of water to this mixture, I will get the new proportion of 1:2. Setter question, absolutely easy to solve. I hope everybody gets this one in the exam. Okay. Now, the length of a rectangle is halved, breadth tripled, percentage change in area. Okay. So, length multiplied by breadth is equal to area of a rectangle. The length is halved. So, the new length is L by 2. Breadth is tripled. New breadth is 3b. So this is nothing but 3 by 2 of L into B, which is 1.5 times the original area. So 1.5 times means the percentage change is an increase of 50%. 1.5 times is nothing but an increment of 50%. And that's the answer. Absolutely easy. So two concepts. What is the formula for calculating the area of a rectangle? Second, percentage application. That's it. Absolutely simple question. Now, and this happens to be a repeat question. This question has been asked more than once in the past year papers. So let's hope we get such sitters this year as well. Now, what decimal of an R is a second? Okay. It's just about interpretation and calculation. So 1 hour is 60 minutes and 1 minute is 60 seconds. So 1 hour is 60 into 60, which is 3600 seconds. So all I need to do is 1 divided by 3600 is which one of these decimal values, right? I'm not going to spoon feed you the answer, right? Don't use a calculator, don't cheat. Calculate what is 1 divided by 3600. You will definitely get one of these answers, and that is the answer to this question. So if you are quickly calculated it, put the answer in the comments. Let's see how many of you get this right. Nice. And a repeat question. So I think 3 questions have been repeated so far in this particular paper. Great. 3 out of 20, not bad. Which of the following fractions is greater than 3 by 4 and less than 5 by 4? So I need a fraction which is between 3 by 4 and 5 by 4. My options are 1 by 2, 2 by 3, 4 by 5 and 9 by 10. Now for comparing fractions, if my denominators are the same, then the numerators are comparable. And for making the denominator same, I need their LCM. So I can use the LCM of all these numbers 4, 2, 3, 5, 10, 4, 60. 60 is the LCM. So convert each fraction such that the denominator is 60. So 3 by 4, 4 15s are, so 3 15s are 45 is my lower limit. And 4 15s are, so 5 15s are 75 is the upper limit. I need numbers between them. Great. So 2 30s are 60, so 1 into 30. Definitely not between the two numbers. 3 20s are 60, 2 20s are 40. Definitely not between these two numbers. 5 12s are 60, 4 12s are 48. Great. Definitely my answer. But here's the problem. If you calculate the value of the fourth one, 10 6 are 60, 9 6 are 54. Technically, both of them lie between 45 and 75. So I think they made a mistake while making this question. Either a printing mistake or they simply did not realize that actually two of the answers match. Now, I don't know what PDEU's policy is, but generally, if more than one answer is correct, then students who have marked either one of the two answers will get a mark for this, right? I hope they don't make such simple errors while setting the paper, but if they do, because there is no negative marking, it's not going to be a big issue. But nevertheless, always good to have exact answers worked out before the paper is given to the students. And that completes 80 questions, which means we are done with the math section. It seems like a long period of time, but believe me, it's because I've been talking a lot. When you're doing it on the day of the exam, I don't think it should take you more than 15 to 20 minutes to breeze through these 20 questions and get at least 16 or 17 of them right, if not all 20. Okay, like I said, I'm also going to go on with the 20 reasoning questions and I'm going to rush through these. So, series 8, 43, 11. Oh, I don't know. Why do they keep asking series in both math and reasoning sections? But absolutely no problem. More the merrier. Okay, so my series 8, come on. Okay, so my numbers are 8, 43, 11, 41, something, 39 and 17. Easy. 8 plus 3 is 11. If I use the same logic of plus 3 and plug in a 14, then 14 plus 3 is definitely 17 and minus 2, minus 2. So 14 definitely the answer. Absolutely easy question. And I've seen this. They have at least 3 to 4 questions of series, few of them in the math question, few of them in the reasoning section as well. Okay. Now, yet another series. So let's see what this is. 664, 332, 340, 170, something 89. Okay. So 664 divided by 2 is 332. 332 plus 8 is 340. 340 divided by 2 is 170. So divide by 2 plus 8 divided by 2. Let's check. What do I get if I do 170 plus 8? 178. And if I continue 178 again divided by 2. 2 8s are 16, 2 9s are 18, 89. Yep. So the number I'm looking for is 178. Option D is the right answer. Mark it. Move ahead. Nice. Marathon is to race as hibernation is to what? Analogies. So marathon is a very long race. Hibernation is a very long, not winter, not dream, not bear. So just as marathon is a very long race, hibernation is a very long sleep. Mark D, move ahead. Easy question. Now, just as the top three things are connected, I need to connect the bottom three. So a carpenter uses a saw and nails. So a pediatrician, a child specialist, uses a stethoscope and which tool? Not a doctor, baby or illness. A thermometer is a tool. So just as carpenter uses saw and nails, pediatrician uses stethoscope and thermometer. Option A has to be the answer for this question. More of vocabulary than anything else. Okay, spy and clandestine. So if your vocabulary is good enough, you will get the answer. Clandestine means secretive. A spy's work is clandestine. So an accountant's work is meticulous. Yes, meticulous means careful. A lawyer's work is ironic. Nope. Fourier, a person who makes hats, his work is rambunctious. Rambunctious is playful. No. And a chauffeur's work is garrulous. Garrulous means talkative. No. So an accountant's work is meticulous. Has to be the answer. So A is the right answer for question number 85. Okay. Ooh. Coding series actually. Okay. So my letters are E, L, F, A, G, L, H, A, I, L, J, A, something missing, and M, L, N, A. What do I put here? Okay. Now, the second letter is L and the last letter is A in every case. So, no worries there. Let's take a look at the first letters. E, F, G, H, I. So, J, K, L, M. First is K. Similarly, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M and N. So K, L, L, A, option D, answer to this question. Such an easy question. But you should not get confused. Whenever you are given multi-letter packets, always compare the first letters of each, second of each and so on. And that's pretty much the pattern which is followed in these type of questions. Okay. Whew. I hope it is visible, right? Now, I'm given three set of diagrams where something is missing in the fourth set. In the first set of three, the top part of the dice has 3, 2, 1 and 2, 1, 0. In the second set of three, 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So, in the third set of dice, I need something which matches that. So, if I take option 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 0 matches. 2, 1, 1, 1, 2 blank, no. 2, 3, 1, 1, no. So, if I take option 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 0, they are in ascending or descending order. So, option A definitely the answer for this particular thing. Okay. Questions on relations. I don't know, many students seem to be a bit confused with such questions, but I find them relatively easy to solve once you have practiced enough number of these types. It says, pointing to a photograph, Rahul said, she's the daughter of my grandfather's only son. How is Rahul related to the girl? Okay. My grandfather's only son. So, my grandfather Dadaji. So, my Dadaji's son is my father, right? So, my grandfather's only son is my father. But you also have a maternal grandfather, Nana. So, if it is the maternal grandfather, then Nana's only son would be your maternal uncle. So, two possibilities. Daughter of this person. So, daughter of my father is my sister. But if it is the maternal uncle, then daughter of my maternal uncle will be my cousin. Two possibilities again. So, the girl is the sister of the cousin. Then Rahul is the brother or the cousin. Unfortunately, I have got both brother and cousin as the option. So, remember, here's the point. In questions, when you are forced to assume one of the two sides, paternal or maternal, patriarchy is followed. The paternal side is always given precedence. So, in this case, my grandfather has to be the paternal grandfather, in which case the only son is the father, in which case the daughter is the sister, in which case Rahul will be the brother. We mark brother as the answer. So, in case you do not have the option of cannot be determined or data inadequate, you go with the paternal side. But if we had the answer option of cannot be determined or data inadequate, then that is what you are supposed to mark. So whether you like it or not, always follow paternal side first. Okay. Now, which of the following indicates the relation between exams, questions and practice? Well, an exam contains questions and an exam requires practice, but a question also may require practice. So there must be a connection between all the three, right? None of the diagrams actually indicate a connection between all the three, but exams contain questions, exams contain practice. So most probably D could be the answer, right? Where the external circle is examination, these are questions and these are practice. Although I would have preferred a diagram option where if this is exam, then these are questions and an intersecting circle is practice. But the closest I could think of is D. So I hope that is what they have written as the answer to this question. And in case it is wrong, no worries, no negative marking, right? So this is slightly ambiguous, and because the exact official answer key is not provided, no way of confirming it. Let's hope for the best and move ahead. Okay. Verbal reasoning. The government has reduced prices of petroleum by 5% week after increasing the price by 10. So the prices went up 10% and then reduced by 5. So the rate of inflation dropped marginally during the last week. Obviously, petrol controls the price of many products. If petrol becomes expensive, most of the products in the market also rise, inflation goes up. But if petrol becomes cheaper, then hopefully prices of other goods also drop, so inflation drops. So the change in the price of petroleum is mostly responsible for inflation. So the first statement is your cause and the second statement is the effect. Option A can definitely be considered as the answer for this particular question. Okay. Find the odd one out. Island, peninsula, coast and oasis. Well, an island is a body of land surrounded by water. So water is majority. Peninsula is a strip of land which has water on three sides. Again, it's defined by water as the border. Coast is also the strip of land near a huge body of water. So island, peninsula, coast are all defined by an sea or an ocean. But an oasis is a small patch of water in middle of a desert, right? So while the first three terms are connected with large water bodies, the last one has a small water body. So the odd man out in this case definitely can be oasis. Oh, and a repeat question. Brilliant. Now, a father said to his son, I was as old as you are at the present at the time of your birth. So the father's age is 38, son's age 5 years back. Okay. So we have two entities, father and son. So I was as old as you are at the present at the time of birth. So at present, let's assume the son is X. So when the son was born, 0 years, the father's age was X. So now the son has become X years old. That means the father has also aged by X years. So present age of the father is 2X. And that is given as 38. So X is 38 by 2, 19. So present age of the son is 19. But what was the son's age 5 years back? 19 is not the answer. 19 is the current age. But the question demands 19 minus 5. So be careful, right? Trick question. If you mark 19, although your calculations are correct, that's not the answer. Because present age minus 5 has to be the answer to this particular question. Okay. Comments, let me check if there are any more. Hello, Gautam. Okay, I hope everybody got the answer to this question. Definitely easy. Oh, and a repeat question. So many questions repeated in this particular edition. Now, find the wrong number in the following series. Okay, my numbers given are 6, 15, 30, 75, 151, 375 and 750. Now, even before I proceed, all of them other than 6 and 151 are all multiples of 5. So 151 seems like a good suspect. So if I don't have time and I want to take a risk, I may mark 151. But let's see if there is a logic. Okay. So 6 multiplied by 2.5 is 15. 15 twos are 30. 30 into 2.5 is 75. 75 twos are, this is supposed to be 150. If I do 150 multiplied by 2.5, 375 multiplied by 2 is 750, yes. So alternatively, I'm multiplying numbers by 2.5 and 2 to get the next one. By that logic, this should have been 150, but it's not. So my wrong number is 151. So even if I did not understand the logic, gut feeling will tell you that 151 seems to be weirdly out of place in a set of numbers where most of them are multiples of 5. So that has to be the answer to this question, and it is. Okay. Now this is a puzzle type question. Okay. Do I remember? Of course I remember it. 2020 or 21 if I'm not mistaken. Now, A, B, C, D, E, F, G are playing cards sitting around a circular table. Okay, 7 people, circular table. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. D is not the neighbor of C or E. Okay, so D does not have C or E as neighbors. A is the neighbor of B and C. So if I assume this is A can be the neighbor of B and C like this, or A can be the neighbor of B and C like this. Two possibilities. And D is not the neighbor of C. So this is definitely not D in the outer arrangement. This is definitely not D in the inner arrangement. G is second to the left of D. So wherever D is, G is second to the left of D and is the neighbor of E and F. Okay. So G, who is second to the left of D, is the neighbor of E and F, and D does not have E as a neighbor. So I need F here and I need E here. So if I were to fit in D, F, G, E, then this cannot be D, right? So the inner arrangement is out. So this is D, F, G and E. Let's see if it satisfies the condition. D not the neighbor of C and D, A the neighbor of B and C, G second to the left of D, neighbor of E and F. Great. So which of the following is correct? B is between A and D, yes. E is to the immediate right of G, nope. D is between F and G, nope. F is to the immediate left of G. Remember, as everybody is facing the center, for G, this side is the right, not the left. So yes, B, C, D eliminated. A definitely the answer to this particular question. Easy one. Now, larks is to warble. Vocabulary. Larks are a type of bird, and warbling is the sound that larks make. So the sound made by the larks are warble. Then the sound made by dolphins is known as what? Well, ducks cluck, goats bleat, and crows crow. Click is technically the name given to the sound made by dolphins. So click C is the answer to this one. Easy, move ahead. Now, Rajesh's school bus is facing north when reaches his school. So at the end, he is facing north. After starting from Rajesh's house, it turning twice and then left. Okay, now that is problematic. The wording of this question is so imprecise. What do I mean by turn left and then left? Turning twice and then left. Are the two terms the same? 2 times left, 2 times right, 1 left, 1 right, 1 right, 1 left. Very confusing, right? I believe there is some error in the wording of this question. So rather than break my nut over it, I will simply leave this question in the actual paper and move ahead. I believe there must be something missing in the print of this question because it doesn't seem to make much sense. Okay, having said that, let's move on. Oh, truthfulness is required in a court. So cleanliness is required. No, cleanliness is a virtue. Cleanliness is the result of a bath. But cleanliness is needed in a restaurant. And cleanliness opposite of pig. So if truthfulness is a requirement of courts, cleanliness is a requirement of restaurants. Mark C as the answer and move ahead. And as you can see, analogies, vocabulary based analogies are very popular type of questions in many PDEU papers. Okay. Now, pale is coded as 2134. Earth is coded as 41590. How can pearl be coded? Okay. So let's first check. E in both is 4, A is 1, so just 1-to-1 match. So P is 2, A is 4, E is 4, A is 1, R is 5 and L is 3. So 24153 did not even require me to struggle to understand it. Absolutely easy question. Definitely got this. One of the easiest type of decoding questions which could have been asked. Okay. Among 5 boys, it is said that Santosh is taller than Sharad. Okay. So Santosh is taller than Sharad, but not as tall as Asim. So Asim is definitely taller than Santosh. Ram is taller than Viral but shorter than Sharad. So Ram is shorter than Sharad, but Ram is taller than Viral. So in descending, Asim, Santosh, Sharad, Ram, Viral. Who is the tallest in the group? Definitely Asim. Option A. Mark, move ahead. Done with this question. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And now we reach the end of the questions. In a class of 90 students, girls are twice that of boys. So, in a class of 90 students, the number of girls is 60 and boys is 30 because girls are twice boys. Ajay ranked 14th from the top. So, Ajay at rank 14 has 13 people above him, and in a class of 90 people, the remaining, so 90 minus 14, which is equal to 76 people are below him. Now, there are 10 girls ahead of Ajay. So out of 13, if 10 are girls, that means 3 are boys. And Ajay himself is a boy. So out of 60 girls, if 10 are ahead of him, 50 are below him. And out of all the boys, if 3 are ahead and he himself as a boy counts 4 boys, then 26 remaining boys below, and 50 plus 26, 76. So how many boys are after him in rank? 26. Option B. Mark this, move ahead. Now this was definitely an interesting question. Involved a little bit of thinking, but logically very easy to solve. And I think we are done. Yes. So absolutely great pleasure to solve this paper, right? Easy questions, maybe 1 or 2 doubtful ones, but this is generally the level of difficulty, and difficulty is a bad word to use because the questions are simple. So this is the level of ease for almost every paper of SLS PDEU. Go to the official website of the institute and you will be able to find out at least 9 or 10 actual past year papers. Remember, from 2020 to 23, 20, 21 and 22, because of COVID, they did not conduct the actual exam. So you will find papers till 2019 and then 23. I am not sure whether they have put the 24 paper. And I have given the solutions for the 2019 and 23 papers. So do check out the videos, the recordings of the live session available on this channel. If you liked this video, please press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment if you want me to solve any actual papers. And please do provide me with a link to the paper so that I can download it and create more videos. So till then, wish you all the best. Hope you had a good time. Hope you understand all the fundamentals, crack the examination for the dream college, and get admission to whichever college you wish to get into. Here's wishing you all the best. Have a good day.